Hi, everyone. Welcoming all of you to the Giving Hour. At Giving Hour, we speak about what does really giving means, what does it mean by giving in terms of meaningful giving, and what do you have to do to ensure that you continue giving in a meaningful way. I'm so excited to welcome all of you who are watching, listening this special podcast with our very special guest, Satyajit Gupta. Let me quickly introduce Satyajit Gupta. Um, uh, Satyajit, first of all, thank you very much for joining this conversation. All those
Thank,
who are watching this podcast, Satyajit is a vice president of CSR and legal at EXL. He is also a co founder of Samvedna. He's been in the space of law and M&A from over 20 years and very well recognized personality in the field of legal world. So I'm so excited to have Satyajit on board where we're going to have really interesting conversation and learn a lot from you, Satyajit, to how does one really understand nuances, the real meaning of giving. So thanks so much for joining.
thank you so much, Priti. Thank you for having me. And I think I'm also looking forward to this discussion. I think not only from the aspect of sharing my learnings over the years, but also I feel that through discussion and through communication, we all learn a lot. So I'm really looking forward to this chat and very happy to speak to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Satyajit. I am absolutely just going to jump into all these questions. We have a lot to cover. Uh, let's just start with your own personal journey. You have been in the space for over 20 years. What really inspired you to be in the space of social sector, especially in the space of education and mental health, and also your journey as a first generation lawyer? What really got you in this space in the first place?
I mean, for me, it's sort of going down memory lane as well. But I think to focus on what I've been, looking out for over the years is obviously, I think, I think my focus always was on learning and growing, and I felt profession such as law gives us a lot of opportunity to do that. I've always been lucky to have had great mentors, and I also put certain people who may not have wanted to be my mentors, but by sort of sometimes telling me that, okay, look, this is not for you, or you need to work harder on this. I think they are also, I count them amongst my sort of really helpful, and I would really put them in the category of mentors. I think just to sort of quickly try to cover my journey, I would say, look, I started as somebody, like you said very rightly, a first generation sort of entrant into law, and it's a intimidating world out there when you go to courts. I mean, my friends, family, people who have otherwise gone to court tell me that it's a very, sometimes it's very alienating space. You just see people wearing black and white, looking very serious. Of course, there are some of them standing outside and having a laugh as well, but it's a closed world. It's a world very difficult to crack into. And I have had the luck of sort of working in different structures of law, whether it is I worked with litigating lawyers, I worked in law firms, I worked in consulting outfits which are focused on law, and of course now I'm working in house, but also taking care of law. So I felt it has been tough, but I think it's also taught me a lot. And I feel, again, through this podcast, if I'm reaching out to people who want to get into law, and I know, in fact, recently came across somebody who's been working for many years in the area of financial advisory and wants to get into law. And I told her that, look, if you want to get into it and if you were willing to put in the hard work and the time and the hours, definitely please go ahead, because it needs it needs that focus, but definitely it's an area that you can pick up. I quickly to sort of cover the other part of your question, and there are obviously many elements which come out of that, but I mean, how and why sort of law has gotten me into the space of CSR. I would say, I think, like many other things, one manifests certain things by thinking about them and wanting to do them. I've always been interested in helping others, whether it's when I was in law school and we used to help out, our fellow students and juniors by way of our academic support programs, or whether it was, in my early days of being in Delhi, where I was part of a very active volunteer with an organization called Robin Hood Army. We used to distribute food, and thereafter, I think through COVID, where I think all of us did a lot, in our own small ways. I think always wanted to be part of, I think, sort of structure or part of a movement where I wanted to give back, and because we get so much and we don't sometimes know and even realize and thank, and are thankful enough for that. So I think this has given me the opportunity. This role has given me the opportunity to work with a lot of non-profits, work in a lot of areas which are of, some of which are of great interest to me, which, whether it's education, whether it's skill development, and finally we are doing a lot of work around environment as well. Each of those have given me an opportunity to give back. And finally, I wanted to just say that, since you mentioned the area of mental health, that's an area of a lot of, I mean, personal interest to me. I've had friends who've gone through, and through time, and maybe through stress and various other factors, gone through their own mental health journeys. And I think it's something that we need to do so much more of. I mean, I've done maybe 1% of what needs to be done, and I think our focus should be that whoever we are interacting with, and each of us can do it. Just watch out for, for them. If you see any signs of that they're in distress, just encourage them to seek help.
Let's start with your own journey as a first generation lawyer, as well as someone who advocates education and mental health so much. How did you what inspired you to be in the space of social sector, and what has been your starting journey?
Sure, sure. So I think, to sort of focus on this part of, or this question that you just asked, I think on the I think both of them, I think, come out of obviously an interest or an inclination to do something for, for others, and I think through that, obviously do something for myself as well. So I think I feel that somewhere, I think it was important for me to take one step forward, at least on the mental health journey, and that involved, definitely doing more than just helping myself, and that sort of inspired me to look at, along with a few friends of mine, look at setting up an organization which would help lawyers, who need to understand the meaning and of course the importance of mental health. And that's even more, I suppose, important because a lot of lawyers work in an unstructured working environment. They work on their own, they have their own chambers or own offices, etc. They don't have, unlike many of us who are now in, the corporate sector. There is a employee assistance program. There are, a lot of resources which the company provides, but lawyers in private practice or independent practice don't have that luxury. So just creating that awareness, giving them some resources to look at, etc., was the intention. As regards social sector, well, I think that's something which has come through, I think, my personal volunteering journey, and whether it's for, working with people who in the space of giving food and, education, or whether it's in the perspective way of helping out, in other areas like education and skill development that we do as part of EXL. All of this, I think, ties together in an interest, ultimately probably a selfish interest per se, just being, doing more for others rather than, just focusing on purely, I guess, what we can do for ourselves. So I would sort of explain it in a, instead of attributing any more noble or any other intentions on myself, but just saying that, look, we feel that if we help others, then, that's the best way of helping and serving, that one can achieve.
This is amazing. I mean, so much to sort of pack in this whole answer here. I really like the concept of while you're helping others, you also have to have a good spotlight on self care, also education, skilling, and digital skilling, environment related issues. I think you're sort of connecting all the dots, starting from building agency for yourself, then helping everybody else to build life skills and education skills, and then ensuring that there is a high impact through livelihood, and ensuring being very cognizant of our environment, and we only get best out of it. As you know, at Magic Bus, we have been doing this for last 26 years, and it almost feels like we manifested you. Having a partner who really believes in all of these very well connected areas, which completes the journey of childhood to livelihood that Magic Bus has been believing in. Actually, this takes me to the next question, which is about our partnership from last 6 years. We have been working with such amazing partner like you and EXL. Be really nice if we can, touch upon what has been this relationship. What are the areas, that over a period of time you improved, and also what has been the impact journey. So over to you.
Sure, sure. Thanks so much for I think pointing this similarity out. I hadn't thought of it before, so but I think it's a great, great one to ponder over. Interestingly, I think EXL and Magic Bus were probably founded in the same year. We were also set up in 1999, and we've also completed 26 years. So I think the journeys have been, probably in different areas, but probably parallel. And of course, like you mentioned, our connection over the last 6 7 years has also been very, I feel, very impactful, not only for the children and the schools, etc., and of course ultimately through the children on a wider community, but also for us, because we've also understood a lot of the challenges, a lot of the struggle that goes into creating education programs. And I think whether it was the fact that when I think right after we started our program, you know the world went into shutdown, and we had to move very quickly, I think, from a pen and paper model to an online and virtual model. And we, I believe, explored a couple of different LMSs until we found one which worked for us. Two, I think, looking at the spread of the program, we are in multiple states across multiple cities, and and each state has presented its own challenges, while of course having its own opportunity. But I mean, our overall focus has been on working in the areas or communities that you know, we we are present in. So, which has meant whether it's in Noida, Gurgaon, to Chennai in the south, and to Ahmedabad in the west, or you know, we have worked across a number of cities, locations. And for us, I think, if I were to look at, obviously, I mean, I've mentioned a few challenges, but I think if I were to look at the wins, I think definitely it's been fantastic. Sort of seeing, how Magic Bus uh, sort of works with, and whether it's the government schools, the teachers, whether it's the children, whether it's the parents. We've had very interesting sessions, meeting the parents of children in the schools, uh, you know also looking at, uh, like I mentioned, the programs, specifically going and meeting the kids, spending time with them. And I think the ultimate, sort of, for us, the proof of the pudding, if I were to call it, has been to see how, how much, after a period when we go back to the schools that we've been working in, how the entire body language of these kids has changed. And how much difference, I think, we've Magic Bus and the trainers and those, has made in terms of soft skills, life skills, and basically just making them confident young people who are out there to, as a step away from school and into a into their careers and into obviously further education. I feel just to sort of try to summarize, I feel it's been sort of seeing a rebirth, a sort of a fresh birth for them that I think Magic Bus and the trainers have enabled. And I think we all know how difficult life is for that segment of our population, and yeah, and many of them come from extremely difficult and disadvantaged backgrounds, and for them to go away from a government school with a smile on their face and with hope in their hearts has really been, I think, what has for me would be the ultimate proof. I mean, of course, there are quantitative metrics, etc., which are available, which our project leads like Rajesh, etc., would point out. But I always say that look, if you when you see the body language of these kids, I think you know that you've made a difference.
Absolutely, totally amazing. First of all, while I reflect on what we spoke, I really want to appreciate that EXS and you and your team is really walking the talk. You very rightly touched upon the time it takes to build education program. Um, it's not that easy to see that jump, and the real impact. Of course, there are impact numbers, there are outcome numbers, there are all sorts of data point that we have. But when we really see the behavioral shift, which I feel is not a like a 1 year or a short term activity. It takes time for building life skills and employability skills and digital skills in the minds of young people who have never had any exposure in their ecosystem, specifically. And I really want to appreciate and call this out, that a strategic partner like EXS and yourself and your team understands and brings empathy on table, which is really amazing. We feel lucky to have you in that space. Also, I was also really thinking, and that takes me to the next question, which is, of course, we've been working together for last 6 7 years. You have also emphasized on digital skills as well. And we started a lab with support of EXO services and your vision. There has been so many activities that we've been doing. What has been the biggest challenges that you feel can be converted into opportunities, and how do we sort of build that inspiration in the minds of employees of, let's say, employees of EXL services, or all those who are listening or watching this podcast? What are some of the advice that you would like to give us, that look, this is how you meaningfully give, and you meaningfully give consistently? So over to you.
Sure, sure. Thanks so much. And I think again, I would say that look, I don't have much by way of advice to give, but sure, in terms of my learnings over the past few years, we've seen how important and how critical employee volunteering has turned out. And I think for us, we have studied this, and I think we encourage every corporate to sort of look at each and every corporate to look at employee volunteering opportunities as they go out and work on the CSR projects as well. I think building that sort of that social responsibility amongst our employees has been a tremendous game changer for us, both in terms of motivating our employees that look, as you know, today the talent pool which is out there is constantly asking that is the employer, is the company I'm working with, are they doing something of importance, are they giving back, or are they just taking the profits and going away? And employee volunteering and showing and by through employee volunteering showing our employees and of course through the efforts we make going out and sending a message out to the larger talent pool that yes, we are interested in giving back and investing what we earn into communities around us has been, I think, win for us. Whether it's from the recruitment and talent uh, standpoint, whether it's from our client and customer standpoint, that they are also seeing that we are giving back, and ultimately, I think, you know, from our own management, we've got a lot of, I suppose, praise that yes, we are able to connect, the dots for all our employees. I think, as you know, I mean, the CSR journey for all Indian companies has been, I mean, under the law, been over 10 years now. And initially, a lot of focus was on picking up one or two small projects, maybe unconnected, or giving the money to, a government fund. But now companies have understood that yes, we need to, give back to projects that are of interest to us, to our employees, and what better way than to do it through the volunteering journey. And finally, I would say that, I think you mentioned, and I think, obviously not the last word on this, but you mentioned the digital learning space. That's been an area of a lot of, I mean, great interest for us in many ways. I think we are, as you know, we are a company which is focused on digital services and analytics ourselves, and being, data and analytics and driven digitally, and we profess to bring or improve digital experience for all our customers, clients, and their customers. Uh, what better for us to do but to bring that same experience to our non-profits, and of course the beneficiaries and the people of the communities that we work around, who are around us. So not only in this area, but even in our skilling programs, which we are doing with multiple partners, we are looking at using, using digital labs, learning labs, giving them, sort of spaces where they can, creating AI playgrounds for them, where they're able to bring their skills to the fore using space, which is maybe protected. There are, we've created sandbox environments for them where they're able to run their projects, run their, ideas, put the ideas to work. And I feel, this is only probably a part of the project we are doing. Obviously, the project has many other areas like life skills, with various soft skills, etc. But I think when we look at the focus, for us in the schools and the initiatives we do there, a lot of focus for us is around STEM, and of course, using the digital skills to bring STEM closer to our students, to our learners, I think has been of great. I mean, of course, right now we are not doing it across the board as many places as we would want to, but I'm sure we will do it in more places, and I think this will help us, as you said, in sort of expanding and widening our reach as we go ahead.
And here we find one more shared value at Magic Bus. As we are also very tech first NGO. We ensure that technology is the bedrock of scaling and solving problems at scale, and that's something we absolutely believe in. With your help, and we're starting the program around future skills, which covers digital skills, AI skills, and a lot of other areas which help our young people to be relevant and very much in the same pace of rest of the world. Uh, I mean, so many shared values and so much that we share together. One more thing, coming back to the volunteering side, and I'm really interested when you said volunteering is, as we all know that how, it really needs to be an angle of DNA. If you don't have the DNA and the real giving sense, then it's just another activity engaging your employees. In fact, I came across this report by Gudera just recently. 3 out of 10 employees have volunteered for various activities, and our volunteering percentage for the country is at about 31%, whereas the global benchmark is 22%. So what I'm really trying to say is, as Indians, giving is in our DNA, and it's really about finding the right ways of doing it, and really operationalizing it, finding the right partners, finding organizations such as EXL Services who really believes in it truly, and giving those opportunities and exposure to all our employees. So it's really time to awaken the giving side of all our Indians. um, okay, that brings me to our last section, which is absolutely must have. We really request all our guests to give us top three secrets from your playbook, telling us what can we take away, from the Giving Hour podcast, and continue giving.
Sure, sure. Thanks so much. And I think quickly, I think you mentioned some stats about employee volunteering, and I'm very happy to sort of let you know that in EXL, we are at 70%. So 70% of our employees have in the year, which is just you know sort of flying past us, uh, given at least 1 hour of their time to an activity which gives back to the community. So whether it's by going and planting a tree, or whether it's by way of taking a class for you know maybe some of the kids or adult learners that we have in our projects, or whether it's by way of initiating, and a number of them have also worked on projects which help and build capacity for NGOs. They've each done something, and I think it's been fantastic for us to see such a. I mean, we set our goal that every employee should do something, which maybe we may not be able to achieve that, but to have three-quarters of our employees take time out and do that has been tremendous. We have also in the last year put in a volunteering day off. So we have, as a policy, we give a day off to our employees who pick up one of these projects and spend at least 5 hours a day on it, and then they can claim that as a day off. So we've had a lot of support from our business as well, and in enabling this uh, you know entire volunteering initiative. And we felt, like you said, that adds another sort of facet to what we can you know what we can do, and how much we can be involved in projects and initiatives, because that this gives us that additional bandwidth of people who are out there to help us achieve that. In terms of, I think, addressing your immediate question, I think, look, the three things that, and I don't know whether it'll be three, it may be two, it may be four, but I think I'll just again share what I have learned over the past few years. As I've been sort of entering the social space. I think I would say, and I think just to make it more relevant to the giving hour, I think just to draw on my past two answers or responses, I would say, look, I think people want to give. I think you just need to enable. I think my first point would be you need to enable them to do it. So just finding areas of interest, finding what makes sense to somebody is always better than just telling them that, hey, you need to donate 100 rupees to X charity. Number two, people want to give. A lot of them are more happy, or they're happier to do something rather than just give money, which they won't know where it's going. So I think where they're able to see the result, I think people are far more keen to give, to contribute, to put in their time. And finally, I would say, ultimately, I think you need to make somebody give once, and I've seen the recidivism there is tremendous. People do want to keep on going back. If they enjoyed it, if they've, it may just be that they connect with somebody, they connect with the learner, they connect with the topic, and if you're able to find that, like as close as perfect uh, giving opportunity for them, you don't need to. It's sort of giving honey to bear. I mean, they'll just keep coming back for more. So I personally feel that giving is something. Giving or volunteering has to come from inside. Nobody can force it. It can't be a corporate mandate. It can't be something that you force upon or you know sort of issue a diktat and do. You have to allow people to do it on their own. However, what you can do is give them the right opportunities, connect them to the right people, and also ensure that what they're doing, is meaningful in its own way. So I think for me, I would say these are the few learnings I've had. Of course, as you mentioned earlier on, I think my most of my career has been into law. The social space is new for me, but I think I've felt that it's been something which has been I think probably for me, in fact, these 5 6 years that I've spent in this space have also given me back, much more than I think I would have gotten from any other part of my professional career.
Very well said. Giving you back, because when you give, you get more. So, great insights. You definitely give opportunities. Then you have them give in person, and once they give always. So, what great way of, I mean, this playbook is just perfect for those who are really looking at, motivating their employees. EXL services have 70 plus percent employees giving back. So many hands, right? So many advocates and helping hands. So I've had really amazing time, and I'm sure also those who are watching and listening have also enjoyed our conversation. This has been a great, great time spent with you. We've learned a lot, and um, really taking this away that if you don't have the DNA, it's really difficult. You really need to walk the talk. Um, and that's what we would do. So thank you so much, Satyajit, for pulling out this time from all your busy schedule. And we will see you soon for more such conversations.
Thank you so much, Preeti. And I think for me as well, it's been, I've got probably more than I've given. And I hope, this short conversation of ours inspires people. I mean, I don't want to be, like I said, I don't want to be and when we discussed initially, we said, hey, let's not make this a monologue, or let's not make this a situation where I'm advising, sort of preaching to people. I just want to encourage people to, and I'm sure, Magicverse does the same, give people great opportunities, whether it's the students, the learners that we're working with, or whether it's, our colleagues and, people around us who want to really do something. So I think if we're able to connect those two, something great is going to come about. So thanks so much for inviting me and having me. And yes, definitely look forward to further conversations. And I of course, look forward to the great projects Magic Buzz does, and of course, the fantastic experience and the fantastic learnings that we have from each of such experiences and projects we work on.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I'll see you soon. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.